April 14th, 1912. 11 p.m. Jack Phillips is hunched over his wireless set in a cramped cabin, drowning in a backlog of passenger telegrams. He's exhausted. Ice warnings have been coming in all day, and at this point they feel like just one more interruption. At 11:40, an iceberg smashes into the hull of the Titanic. Within minutes, Phillips and his junior operator, Harold Bride, are sending out the distress call, known as a CQD. Then, on Bride's suggestion, something newer, something barely used yet, SOS. Titanic may be one of the first ships to ever send it in a real emergency. 40 minutes before the collision, the nearby Californian tried to warn Titanic directly, heavy ice ahead. Phillips, buried under paid messages, cut them off mid-transmission. Shut up, I am busy, he tapped back. Not rude, just overwhelmed. In 1912, a wireless operator had no way to know which message was the one that mattered. 5 minutes before Titanic hit the iceberg, the Californian's operator switched off his set and went to bed. When Titanic began screaming into the night, the closest ship heard nothing at all. Historians still argue over exactly how close Californian really was and whether she could have reached the wreck in time. What isn't disputed is that her crew saw distress rockets in the distance and assumed they weren't urgent. Phillips and Bride stayed at their posts the entire time, sending calls for help as the ship tilted further into the water, power failing around them. Bride survived. Phillips did not. People often forget, wireless didn't fail that night. It worked. Without it, Titanic would have vanished into the Atlantic with no witnesses and no survivors. The only reason anyone lived is because Carpathia heard the call and turned toward the darkness, arriving in time to rescue those still in the lifeboats. In the aftermath, wireless became a public sensation. Newspapers ran interviews with surviving operators. Marconi himself, whose company employed both Phillips and Bride, was called before a U.S. Senate inquiry, not as a suspect, but as an expert witness on the future of the technology his own employees had just used to save over 700 lives. The disaster led to the first international regulations requiring ships to keep wireless operators on duty around the clock. No more shutting the set down at midnight. It's a rule that still exists today, in modified form, on ships and aircraft around the world. 2 exhausted operators, working past midnight in a sinking ship, accidentally invented the rules of modern emergency broadcasting. One lived to tell the story. Sadly, one didn't. But every distress call sent today carries a trace of what they did in those final hours. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe for more Signal history.